What up, nerds? Bujo Head Jody here. I have been bullet journaling since 2017, and I would like to share my 2021 July monthly spreads with you. Alright, July. I once again have returned to one of those pre-made color schemes that my outliner put together. Really actually enjoyed exploring these, and this one it's very sort of juicy, and it's nice because it reminds me of, a lot of sort of citrus fruits. So that's kind of the theme that we went with. This month is also a lot simpler. There's no sort of drop shadows, sort of very minimal little doodles. We're going for more of like a citrus, fun, fruity explosion of color, but nothing like the intricacies of last month. So we're just doing the nice header there. We're gonna draw a couple citrus fruit slices. These are pretty easy doodles. What you do is you just draw the rind, and then you draw a couple little segments, and they don't have to be perfect. Honestly, I'm sure you'll see later, I'll be doing a couple more of these dotted throughout. They're just kind of wherever there is, empty space. So usually you would want to fit in like at least 6 little segments all around, and a lot of times it's like 5 or 4 or just a couple, and they're not absolutely perfect, but they still look good. It's just the impression of fruit is what you want. So I am cleaning this one up a little bit with my white jelly roll, because one of the things you want is to make sure that the rind and the segments inside don't touch. That the empty space gives the impression of the segments. That is the one rule you need to follow. So on this left-hand side, we're using pretty much exactly the same layouts that I've been using for the past 2 months or so. So this first one is a calendar. It's sort of a very simplified list calendar. So we're just outlining with the color. We're putting the date and then the first initial of the day of the week. And I'll fill this in later. I don't have a whole lot. This works for me because I only have maximum 3 things happening on a day. So if you have a lot more things to fill in on a calendar like this, I would recommend not using this type of calendar spread. I do also like to highlight and separate out the weeks, just so that I can keep it all separate. So what I'm actually doing is I'm highlighting their Saturday and Sunday. I like to start my weeks on a Monday, so those are actually the end of the week for me, not the weekends, the weekend. So I will be including here this little mini calendar, which will go in that box, in that larger box there. But this right-hand side is my spread that I've used since the very beginning, since all the way back in 2017, which is the summary of all of my accounts, or at least my accounts that I use every month. I do have some retirement accounts that I don't keep track of here, but I do actually keep track of in this bullet journal. You can go check out my yearly spreads for those. And I have a couple other little random accounts that I don't keep track of, on paper, because they're so small, and like they're not worth it. So but this summary page has a little mini calendar up at the top, and then the very tiny little one there that says Delta there, and that is just will be the summary of all of my accounts and how they have changed. In general, right now, I kind of want that number to be okay, but also it's, it should be negative because I'm putting a lot of money into my retirement accounts right now. That's sort of my focus, financially. So that's always good to keep in mind when you're like setting up a system. It's like, okay, is this number gonna go down? Is this, what's the goal here? So the top purple section there are my assets, checking accounts, savings accounts, a little bit of cash, and then the larger sort of turquoise section. Those are my debts, which are just my credit cards. I pay those off every month. I don't actually carry any debt. I am officially debt-free, have been since the 2019 June-ish. That was very exciting. But this just keeps track of what I'm putting on them every month. I get rewards and all that stuff. And then the very bottom section, in the lime green, those are my targets. So like what I want to be spending for my budget this month, and the hours that I want to be working at my job. Real simple. It was really fast to set up, so highly recommend. I really like how it came out, and I did this like fun little sort of just not really rainbow-esque, but like I was following the color pattern around, and then a little extra fruit on the side. It looks really cute, and it's very fast to set up, which was definitely what I needed this month. This month I did not get my act together real quick at the beginning of the month, and so this is really nice. I got to do a little bit of doodling, but also nothing really took a very long amount of time. So, and I definitely like the sort of a lot more uppercase titles this month. I definitely used my colors well. I really enjoyed those. This is definitely a low effort month, but highly effective. So. I do love these color combinations. I think not having to actually pick these colors out myself You know, like when you don't cook for yourself, it tastes better. It's like that. Yeah, when you don't have to pick out the color combos, it's totally fine. So yeah, so next two spreads are going to be my sort of the details on basically that last section on the last page, which are my targets. So it's going to be the hours that I'm working and then my budget. Now in the budget section, I do include sort of every transaction that I make. I work on a track every penny system. If you know, you know. It's called YNAB. You need a budget. I recommend. But I also love detail, and it's also nice to. I like to keep track of that detail, but it's not all in my brain all at one time. I get to put it in the app, and it works, and it's really nice. So we've got the large section for the budget on the right-hand side. We got a little bit extra. I definitely, because I did two large separate titles like this, with the hours and the budget being a separate title, I do have a little less room to write down like my budget spending and all my transactions, which I did not realize going into this that would make that much of a difference. But it's, you know, not that far into July and I'm already running out of space, so I'll be fine, because like you know, most of my transactions happen within the first day. So I pay off all my credit cards and when I pay off my like utilities and stuff. So the vast majority of my transactions happen within the first 2 days, but still, you know, it's a little disconcerting when there's not a whole lot of space left for that. So, and I do like to leave a lot of space for that. But I did really like the separate headers. They're very cute. And of course I know which section is which because it's very obvious to me. The smaller one is always the hours, but you know, it's always nice to have that be official, I guess. Yeah, we're working on our fruits. They do not have to be perfect. They just have to give the impression of citrus, so. And they are very good fillers as well, because, you know, you can put as many little things as you want there. Now you notice I am using these fine liners that I have tried to find as close to the mild liner colors as possible. The mild liners being those markers and the fine liners being the pens. This definitely upped my game, my bullet journal game, to be able to have pens and markers that you can sort of mix and match, having the ability to sort of decide how thick or small or noticeable you want all your lines to be, or to be able to fill in a space is very, very, very helpful. And it makes my spreads a lot more flexible. So I'm using the fine liners, pens, to separate columns, but I'm using the mild liners, the markers, to do the like main outlines, and then to highlight the sort of subheaders of each section, which in the hours section is the date, and then the hours that I work that certain day, the total, which is the running total, so like on the first day it's just the first day of hours, the second day it's the first and the second, the income, so I do our payroll, so I actually can do my individual calculations, so like if I stopped working today, how much money would I get paid? I have that all figured out. It's not completely accurate. I mean, it is right now because we're further on in the year, but it's a very good approximation. So this would be like the total income, and then the very last column is the increase, which is from yesterday, how much more would I have made? So it's basically like, what did I make today in a practical sense? It's very good motivation. I need smaller goals, you know. It's gonna be smaller and smaller. And then for the budget section, which I am doing the highlighting on now, it is date, amount, account, total, description, and then budget. So the date that happens, the amount that I do, account that it's in, a running total, description of what it is, and whether or not it's on budget or not. So we're gonna put our little lime green flag. That is all she wrote for the monthly spreads. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.